Welcome to Psychology 1 online at Butte College. I'm Norm Reese, your instructor and guide for this tutorial. First thing that we want to take a look at is the global navigation bar. That's right here on the left. Right next to it is the course navigation bars. This bar here applies to all of your courses. This bar here applies to just this course. Okay, in the global navigation bar we have three things I want to talk to you about. One is the calendar. This is a typical wall calendar looking thing, and each course will have its own color. I believe you can change those if you like. Let's take a look at February. It's got more things in it. One thing I would want to point out is that some of the entries are made by me, some of them are automatically made by Canvas. Canvas enters all of this looking type. This is quiz 1 based on chapter 1. When you see one that looks like this is Canvas due. This means it's due. I would have added due in here, but that would show up in the grades, and I don't want that to happen. Now, the reason I mention this is because I enter my own for one that's available. Quiz 1 is available here on Monday, and it's due here on Sunday. That's 1 week time span, or the end of the week. And that's because in this class, the academic week begins at 12 a.m. on Monday, midnight, and it ends 11:59 on Sunday at the end of that academic week. So 1 minute later, and you're into the start of the next week. So all assignments, all of the 1 week assignments are available on Monday around midnight, and they're due on Sunday just before midnight. The discussions, let's go back to January. First day of class, discussion 1 is available. There are 3 of them, and they're 5 weeks long. So this one is available 12 a.m. Monday, 22nd, and it will be due 5 weeks later on Sunday at 11:59. Let's talk about quiz 1. You have, as soon as it's available, you can take the quiz. You won't be ready more than likely, but you have any time between that point, 12 a.m. on Monday through 11:59 on Sunday, to turn it in when it's due, in the due period I call it. If it isn't turned in, then you don't lose your chance to take it, but you do lose what we call the on-time points, which are 1.5 points for each quiz and 2.5 points for the discussions. Second thing is the message. The main thing is to go over here if you want to compose a message with this little quill icon. Press that, fill in the details. I think this is all pretty self-explanatory. The messages will end up right here, and the individual text will appear over here. So help. Click here if you're having trouble, either with Canvas, how it works, or with trouble with your internet or your computer or whatever. If you're having trouble with Canvas, click search the Canvas guides. I'm not going to go into it right now, but it's fairly self-explanatory. It has videos to watch. If you have a Canvas question that you can't figure out the answer to, this Canvas support hotline is excellent. Let's take a look at the course navigation bar. This is controlled right here. So if you want to make more room, you can just get that out of the way. So this is the home page. This is me, your instructor. This is my telephone number. You can reach me probably anytime after, let's say, 10 in the morning through midnight. So I'm a little flexible on those, but that's a rough time frame. I'm here at my computer a great deal of time. I'm very easy to get a response if you send me an email. Only send emails through the Canvas email system. So the home page includes, among other things, the weekly assignment modules. This is where you're going to spend most of your time in this course, and it's set up to do that. Your typical one will look like these chapters here. Let's take a look at those. Click that, and that will take you to the modules. This is a complete list of modules for the entire course. When you click on one, it'll put this module right here where you, on the one you clicked. So it's going to have Norm's notes. That's like takes the place of my lectures. What's due this week? A study guide for the quiz for that week. The discussion for that 5-week period that'll keep repeating. It'll be available in all of them until the 5th week when it changes, or the 6th week when it changes to the second discussion. Quiz 1, if you're ready to take it, is right here, and then you get a study guide for the next week. The reason I do that is that the next week won't be available until it gets there. Nothing in there will be except for the study guide. So if you finish this one, you've taken your quiz, you'll have the study guide to allow you to start studying for the next one. So let's take a look at the very first one module, which is the Introduction and Orientation. That takes all week. There is no first quiz, no chapter quiz in the first week. It starts in the second week. In the first week, there is a quiz that you'll need to take, 15 questions, just to tell you, just to show that you know about how this course runs and what you need to know to proceed on to the next quiz. So let's take a look at the orientation. Now this video right here is the one you're looking at. So read everything in this on this page. It's all important. Read all instructions carefully and completely. It could cost you points if you don't. So once you watch this video, you begin learning what you need to learn to pass the orientation and syllabus quiz. If you don't pass that, and it's taken as a measure of your attendance for this course, you're liable to be dropped from the course. So if that appears to be happening, call me, let me know if there's a problem, and do that anytime there's a problem, anytime during the course. Anytime you have a problem, no matter what it is, let me know. Keep me in the loop. A lot of times we can work something out. So there's 3 basic things you need to know for the syllabus and orientation quiz. One is plagiarism. You need to know about it, what it is, and how to avoid it. And the way to do that is to click on this link, which will take you to a 3-page document describing just what we talked about. Academic honesty policy at Butte College. Click that link, it'll take you to a description of that. And read the syllabus condensed for spring 2018, which is everything taken out of there except what you need to know for this quiz. When you're ready for the quiz, you take it by clicking this link right here. You need to keep taking it over and over and over. You can take it 4,700 times if you need to until you score 100%. It shouldn't be that long. A lot of people do it on the first try. It'll tell you which questions you got wrong. So you take it as many times and it'll tell you which ones are incorrect. Once you get that done, everything else will work in the course and you can continue on to the next chapter. You can begin reading the textbook in the first week. If you haven't gotten the book yet, you can download it. There will be instructions on how to do this in the announcements at the top of the home page. Will be the latest 3, and that will be one of them. You can download a PDF or other format free from the publisher, or you can get for $38 you can get a hardback version, which is like any other textbook from the bookstore or Amazon or one of those. So that the worst case, it's going to cost you $38. The best case will be free. That's a pretty good deal, and I'm happy that I'm able to do that. And there's quite a few psychology instructors who are doing that this semester. The quiz for chapter 1 is available in the next module. The study guide is available in this module. I'll show you that in a minute. Watch the video below is next in line, which is a discussion tutorial. How to post to the discussions in this class. You need to watch this because this works a little differently than most discussions you're going to be running into. And they have specific instructions on how to do that. When you watch this, you might discover that you don't know how to do something like provide a reference list and in-text citations for your research sources, and you need 2 of those for every discussion. So you're going to need to know how to do that, and if you don't know that, go to this link right here, and I'll have videos, short videos, very good videos on 2 different formats, MLA and APA. Take your pick. APA is for psychology majors generally, but you can use that if you like. MLA is more broadly used, and it's probably the easier of the 2 ones to use. So take your pick. And the only other thing that you're going to need to know for writing is the requirements for this class, which you can see on this link here. This is out of the syllabus. But if you click that icon, it'll show you the requirements for this class, including examples of paraphrasing with citations, a cited quotation, how many quotations are okay, how to do a reference list. This is the short version of these videos, and it's also specific to this class. So this should tell you everything you need to know. In fact, if you make quotations and paraphrase your sources and don't provide citations and references, that's plagiarism, and it'll cost you points. Orientation and syllabus quiz, you click this button right here, this link, and it'll take you to the quiz. And then the last thing is a study guide for the upcoming week. So let's take a look at a typical week module, and they always start off with something called Norm's Notes for that chapter. This takes the place of my lecture, and so it includes things I think we need to supplement the text with missing information, information that needs to be explained further. It'll contain quite a few videos, typically some interactive stuff. In this particular case, this is something that's missing from the textbook, critical thinking, which I think is very important. So to illustrate my point, I'll have a couple of like brain teasers that illustrate my point, and I think you'll find those interesting. So that's kind of a typical Norm's Notes. 2 things that you're going to find in here that you need to take note of, or it'll cost you more points. One is that I think more than half of these contain information that will show up on the quiz. The other thing is that somewhere in the text of Norm's Notes, you'll find in more than half a bonus extra credit question that will be fairly simple if you've read the material and watched the videos. And those are worth, what you do if when you know the answer, shouldn't be that hard, is to go to the messages, send me a message with your answer. Say, this is my answer for chapter 1 bonus question. If you're right, then I give you points. If you're wrong, then I give you as many chances as you want to go back and figure it out until you get it right. So there are probably going to be 12 to 14 points available from these. So they're worth doing. That and the questions on the quiz, which are going to be at least 4 points per question. So these are obviously something you're going to want to be taking a look at, the Norm's Notes. And they're interesting. Okay, then you're going to run into something called What's Due This Week. So here's a typical one. Week 2, Chapter 1. The stuff in blue down at the bottom tells you when things are due, what's due for that week. So this is pretty handy. And anything else you need to know about it and where to find it. If you click next, you go to the next item on the module for that week. This is a quiz study guide. This contains a list of concepts, terms, subject matter, some of which are definitions. That one is because it's labeled that, and I'll try to label that when that's all they are. The book will have a definition of psychology, and you need to figure that out so that you can answer that question. If it doesn't say definition, and in most cases it won't, the term is broader than a definition. You need to read everything available in the text on that topic. And that can be extensive, particularly when we come down on things like in the chapter on research, which is chapter 2. One of the subjects is the experiment, psychological experiments. There's 7 pages in the text on that subject, so you need to read all of those 7. In order to read in order to be able to answer the questions, because some of them are in context and they're not just simple definitions. Okay, so this is your best bet for succeeding on these quizzes, is to follow these study guides. That's the quiz. You can access these in the modules themselves as well as clicking next. The quizzes are 25 questions, multiple choice. You have 25 minutes, unless you have a disability that requires that you have additional time. It's usually time and a half if you do. Otherwise, it's like 1 minute per question, and for most people, that's pretty adequate. You can tell me if that's a problem, but I'm likely to tell you that the only way to get around that is to go to the DSBS, see if they can give you documentation to send me to allow you more time on the question. So they're going to be mixed up. They won't be in the same order for every student. They're presented one at a time. It'll give you an indication of how much time you have left. And if you get nervous about taking quiz and you feel pressured and stuff, read that course information here on the home page. Tips in overcoming stress, test taking anxiety. Some really good points in there if that's a problem for you. Another one is how to maximize your scores on the quizzes in this class. So at the very end of each chapter module is a study guide for the next module. Covers the modules. Okay, the only other thing I haven't mentioned, I think, is when you send me an email, only do so through Canvas right here. Do not use any other email address of mine, because it should all be contained as a record in this class, any interactions we have through email. You can also call me, happy to at any time, because I'm a part-time instructor and I don't have a regular office. So, and most of the time, sometimes the students are from Maine or Istanbul or whatever it could be. I've had some fairly remote students take the course. The other thing is, when you post a discussion post, you only want to do that through the normal mechanism, which you can find out by watching that video. Do not send me a post in Canvas messages. If you can't figure out from the video how to post, give me a call and I'll walk you through it. We'll get you there one way or another. And the same with any other problem you have. Give me a call. Okay, that pretty much covers it. I'll send you an email, or there should be one as you're watching this. There should be one in your inbox from me, and there should be announcements. This course hasn't been published yet as I do this video, but when you're watching it, there should be the first 3 announcements, or 1 or 2 if there's only 2 so far, up here at the top, and you always want to keep an eye on those. So that's it. Good luck. We'll see you in class.